AITA for not telling my husband's family that I speak their language. My husband Peter, 29, and I, 27F, have been married for about 3 years. We have one child together and I was pregnant with our second. I'm Western Canadian while he is from Germany. We lived in Canada for a long time, but because of inflation, moving back to Germany seemed like a better option for us. We bought a nice house in Hanover, where Peter is from. The day after our flights to Germany, we all visited Peter's family. This was the second time I have seen them. The first was at our wedding. They greeted us and brought us inside of the house, fussing over my son. We had dinner, and soon we left the house, wanting to settle into our new home. We visited Peter's family often for the next few months, but I had started to realize that they would sometimes speak about me in German. They would make rude comments on my hair and makeup, question my fashion choices, and overall were just very unkind to me. They also said mean things about my pregnant belly, which I was already insecure about. I ended up talking to my husband about this. I told him that I didn't like the way that they were treating me. I said that I hated how my every choice was judged. He told me that he would talk to his family. The next time that we went to his parents' house, there were no more mean comments. For about 3 months it was like nothing ever happened. I gave birth to a perfect baby girl that we named Lilith. Peter's family was very upset when they heard the name. If you didn't know, Lilith means ghost, or of the night. We didn't pick this name because of its meaning, but because it is a name that every girl in my family has had for many years. My middle name is Lilith, along with my mom's, my grandma's, and even my great-grandma's. For a while I didn't visit my in-laws. I didn't want to hear them talk about how I shouldn't have named my daughter Lilith. But yesterday we saw them again. It was my mother-in-law's birthday. As soon as we showed up, things started to go badly. Everybody wanted to hold Lilith, which made my Millel upset because people weren't paying attention to her, and made me overwhelmed. I didn't want people holding her. I was going through a pretty bad postpartum depression, and it was still pretty early to see people. I let people look at her, but declined when anyone asked to hold her. During dinner I heard my CL talking to my Millel in German. I heard her complaining about how she couldn't hold my baby. My CL even had the audacity to call me, and I quote, a fat, ugly, hokey addict. I turned to my CL and Millel, and told them off in German. I basically said that I have always known what they have said about me, but calling me names was the last straw. I also mentioned how I have known German for almost my whole life. The table instantly blew up. People were yelling at me because apparently this was all my fault. I left with Peter, and we haven't talked to them since, so AITA for not helping my dad's pregnant girlfriend and telling her to fuck off when she asked. My mom died 14 months ago and shit's been tough since. I 16F always had a great relationship with my dad before, but lately it's been pretty awful. 4 months ago my dad brought this woman home, told me she was his girlfriend and that she was pregnant and moving in with us. This was 9 months after my mom died. I didn't really know what to say at first. He was scrambling to say stuff, but I don't really remember what he said. But when I did speak, I was bitter and I told him I guess he found a great way to tell me he never loved my mom and was over her. I said that because he had always talked about people moving on within like 2 years of their husband or wife dying, as never really loving them and got over them super fast. He'd say that loving someone and being ready to move on would take a much longer time. He said he saw it in family and family friends who'd been through the loss. He said the people who moved on super fast were disrespectful, especially when they had kids who had lost a parent and needed to be supported and their parents' memory preserved. So I took it really hard when dad was admitting he'd knocked someone up 7 months after my mom died. They'd started screwing each other 5 months after mom died, which is something I hate thinking about, but he admitted it. His girlfriend got extremely pissed off when I was saying that stuff to dad about him not loving mom. She took offense that I was focusing on that instead of on the news of a baby and greeting her. I ignored her and kept telling my dad what I thought, and she lost it and said I should be excited about the baby. She said mom was dead and dad had a right to a life after her. She said the baby didn't deserve this shit. She moved in that day and dad spent days trying to make me okay and to apologize for it all happening so fast. His girlfriend didn't want me there and said I needed to leave if I wouldn't welcome her and celebrate the baby. Dad said no, but I told him I wanted to go. He tried to fight it, but I asked him if he ever wanted a relationship with me because if he did, it would not happen if I was forced to live with her. I moved in with my grandparents. Dad comes to see me multiple times a week. He's talked me into going to the house for dinner a couple of times, but me and his girlfriend do not like each other. She's extra bitter that dad's so focused on making our relationship work instead of on her and the baby. The last time I saw her was a month ago, and she told me I was disgusting for not getting over myself and warming up to the baby who's coming, whether I like it or not. She was also pissed that I wouldn't pick something up for her when she dropped it. Last Tuesday I got a text from her. Don't have her number, but she said who she was, telling me she needed me to go over there now because she left her key in the house and got locked outside, and she was in pain and having some bleeding and was supposed to rest. I still have a key to the house and dad was still at work. I replied, "Fuck off," and I didn't go to help her. I blocked her number too. After that, she used Dad's phone to leave a voicemail yelling at me and calling me names for leaving her outside when she's 7 months pregnant. I ignored it, and Dad told me she just waited in the car until he got home. But she texted me in the middle of the night from Dad's phone calling me a POS. My dad knows about it and he apologized. He's still trying to make this all okay with me, but he also hopes we can all get along and be a family. AITA? AITA for not telling my ex his passport was revoked and causing him to miss his flight. My ex and I have been divorced for 2 years. We have 2 kids, 8 men, 5F. Everything was great until our daughter was born, and then it's like a switch flipped, and he was a completely different person. I held out for as long as I could, but when he began an affair, I filed for divorce. He fought me every step, and it took over a year to finalize. During the divorce, I was awarded primary custody. He was ordered to pay support, which he has never done. I don't need it, but it would be nice to have it to save for the kids, so I did sign up for enforcement. I don't badger him about it. I know to him it's a way to try to get me to talk to him. I just let enforcement do their thing. Since he's so far behind, they have suspended just about everything they can. They send notices to him when this happens, but I'm sure he doesn't open them. I am a first-gen American, and most of my extended family still lives abroad. My grandmother recently passed away earlier this year, and I decided I wanted to visit my family with my kids and see her resting place. Ex and I had some back and forth, because I need permission from him to leave the country. He agreed but made a point to tell me that he feels now is a good time to take a vacation, and that he was always planning to visit my family's country. I was already anticipating this because following us is something he does every time I take the kids on a trip. My lawyer drafted a document to be signed and notarized, that I was being given permission to take our kids out of the country for the specific dates. She also included a clause that he has up until 72 hours prior to the day of travel to revoke his permission. He agreed. The day arrives for us to leave, and I get to the airport with the kids 3 hours before our flight. Things go smoothly and I take the kids to a diner to grab some breakfast. Ex arrives much later, and as we're finishing up, I get a call from him. Turns out his passport was revoked due to lack of CS payment. He was denied at check-in, and there's no way he can get his passport reinstated without paying his arrears in full. He said that since he can't go, he no longer gives me permission to take them. I reminded him that we are past the 72 hours for him to deny my travel request. He said that he was going to inform an officer that I was trying to kidnap his children. I told him to do whatever he felt was necessary. Officers did show up at the gate to figure out what was going on, but I had the notarized agreement with me, so they sent us on our way. He kept spamming my phone non-stop until we got on the plane, where I was able to turn it off and get some peace for the flight. While we were in the air, he called my brother to complain. We met through him and they're still friends, and I have now been given an earful about how cruel it was for me to continue with the trip, knowing he wouldn't be able to follow us, and that I didn't tell him on purpose. My mother told him to stay out of it, and that it's no longer my responsibility to remind him to open his mail, but some extended family agree with my brother. I don't think I'm the AH for continuing our trip, but I am questioning whether I'm an AH for not giving him a heads up that he should check his passport. I didn't know it was revoked for sure, but I suspected AITA. AITA for ignoring my wife for throwing away my late wife videotapes. I am writing this because I don't know what to do. I have a daughter with my late wife, and her name is Eleanor. Her birthday is coming up in 2 weeks, and she's turning 8. Background: me and my late wife, Chloe, has been dating since college. We got older and ended up getting married, and after our wedding, she shared news to me that she was pregnant, and I was excited that we were expecting our first child. Since it was our first child, we bought a video camera and made little tapes and snippets of her whole pregnancy. Wholesome things such as us just joking around or having lunch, or talking to our unborn child through the camera. We made a promise to only show Eleanor the tapes until her 18th birthday. Fast forward 2 years after her birth, Chloe passed away due to a drunk driver crashing into her car as she was coming home from her mother's house. I was devastated of her passing and went into a deep depression and having to raise our 2-year-old daughter by myself. My friends tried to get me to go out again and start back dating, but every time I did, I felt like I was betraying her. Years later, when Eleanor was 13, I met Wendy. We met at a gathering for my sister's birthday and we instantly hit it off. She didn't mind that I had a daughter because she had 2 kids herself and just went through a divorce. 2 years after we got married, now back to the present. Eleanor's 18th birthday is coming up and I kept all the tapes for me to show her. Mind you, her mother died when she was just 2, so Eleanor doesn't remember her touch or her voice. I was excited to show her the tapes, and a week ago I was talking to Wendy about it and I noticed her expression going from happy to looking a bit uncomfortable. Wendy would always get uncomfortable when I talk about my late wife. I don't say things like, "Why can't you be like Chloe?" or "Chloe was only supposed to be my first love," but I talk about her in a way to give my daughter a mental picture of how her mother was like. Wendy has always talked to me about Chloe and how it made her sad that she can never be like her. Chloe was a model, then started working on her fashion career, and don't get me wrong, she was a really beautiful woman, while Wendy had 2 kids in college and not in the best shape due to her words.
I love both women how they are, and I've never had a preference, but I feel like Wendy is gaining some jealousy towards Chloe. I told Wendy that I love her just the way she was, and she broke down crying. The next day after that incident, she came up to me and apologized for the way she acted last night. I told her it was okay, and it's good that she felt comfortable to share her feelings, and I gave her a tight hug and a kiss on her forehead. She asked to see where the tapes were at, and I showed her the box of videotapes of my late wife in my closet. Things were going fine until yesterday morning. I was looking for the tapes because I wanted to put them in a prettier box for my daughter, and when I went to go find them, the box wasn't in my closet. I looked everywhere to the point I walked downstairs to see my wife laying on the couch watching TV. I asked her about the box and she told me she threw it away with a neutral expression. My heart dropped and I asked her what did she mean, and she told me that I talk about her too much and that I need to move on with my life, so she threw them away as a head start. I was fuming with anger because not only she threw away what I had left of her, she threw away my daughter, big surprise. We quickly got into an argument and she noticed how angry I was, so she started apologizing. It got to the point I started crying and locked myself in our bedroom. It's the morning and I'm writing this in my office, going through my computer, finding old files or any type of video of my late wife to give it to my daughter, because sometimes my daughter still cries that she never got to meet her mother, and I really thought it would bring her closer to her. I've been ignoring my wife for the past day, and she's been texting me non-stop about how sorry she is, but I really just can't look at her right now. It's getting to the point our mutual friends are texting me to accept her apology and get over it since Chloe died over 10 years ago, but I'm trying to ignore them all because they never had someone so close to them died. I am working on finding these files and I'm starting to think I was overreacting. I don't know what to do and I really need help.
AITA don't want to apologize over my mother feeling unwanted at my college graduation. Told her she wasn't welcome to visit me anymore. My mom and I have a strained relationship since we got in a fight about me working at a summer camp instead of an internship last summer. She's always been controlling, influencing where I went to school, my major, etc. We didn't talk for a few months and she wouldn't talk unless I apologized for going against her. Last month was my college grad. She wasn't coming until she got her dad to come with, as she didn't want to be alone. She also didn't book the tickets until I verbally invited her. She never calls me but says I'm the one who doesn't want a relationship. I call her once a week but never talk about anything deep because I don't want her judgment or smothering, but I never uninvited her. At grad she made me cry 3 times from stress. I tried to make an effort to include her but she says it wasn't enough. My parents divorced 2 years ago, and my mom hates that side of the family, who was there, has always hated them, and thinks I favor them. I tried to be fair at the grad. I spent half a day with mom, then half a day with dad. Then I tried a combined campus tour. During the tour, my dad's mom, who has a walker, had to use the bathroom. I was the only one who knew where it was, so I took her. Didn't think it would be long, so I didn't say anything. Didn't think I needed to. My boyfriend was also there, so he took over. Bathroom was 20 minutes. When I got back, my mom, her dad looked pissed. I was getting stressed. When they asked me a question, they seemed angry. I felt stressed by this, so I stepped away because I was crying and didn't want them to see. When I returned, my mom, her dad left. The night after grad, I wanted to drink with my friends. My mom looked mad when I told her this. I thought it was okay. I spent lots of time both alone and in groups with her that week. Went out to eat with her, spent time with her in the hotel. She was there for group meals, played a board game with her. Fast forward, I'm moving halfway across country in a week. My mom keeps saying she is unwelcome, even though I've told her she is welcome to visit me whenever. When I probed, she says it's because how I acted at grad. I explained to her the misunderstanding. She wants me to apologize for not saying where I was going, and also wants me to acknowledge how she felt. I said no, I tried my best, nothing to apologize over. I told her if anything she made the weekend about herself when it was supposed to be about me, especially since I didn't get a grad in 2020. She said it was about her, since she was the mom of the grad. That was a few days ago. She sulks around me, and I don't want to talk to her as I'm still mad that she wanted an apology. I told her if she's going to keep sulking, she's not welcome to visit for a few months. A few heated words were exchanged. No resolve. I went to my dad's for a day. I came back. All the photos of me were thrown out. I asked why. She said I'm dead to her, and that she needs to move on from me, and seeing them brings her pain. AITA for not telling my kid I'm not her actual dad. So, for context, when I, 24, was 19, when my mom had my younger sister, MJ, not actually her name for privacy, my mom was a drug addict, stopping during pregnancy, but when MJ was about 5 months old, she started back on drugs, dropping MJ off any place she could. Seeing this, I wanted to give MJ a life that she deserved, not what our mother gave me. Even though I was only 19, I filed a petition to get custody of her. It was a long, hard process, but when MJ was 2, I finally got full custody. All this to say, I'm legally MJ's dad. I'm the only dad she knows, and she calls me dad. A year ago, I met my girlfriend AITA, 24F, and we started dating not long after. I really thought I found somebody to like me and MJ. AITA would always take MJ on girls' days and little dates. I proposed to AITA on Sunday. It seemed like everything was great until a few hours ago. AITA was at my apartment having dinner with me and MJ. Well, when I was cooking dinner, I heard MJ say something along the lines of, "You're gonna marry my daddy, and you're gonna be best friend." I thought it was cute until I heard AITA laugh and say, "He's not your dad, MJ," which caught me off guard. I guess she thought I couldn't hear her, because there's a wall between the kitchen. But still, I don't know why AITA said that. MJ was confused as 5-year-olds are said I was, and AITA kept correcting her until MJ started crying, which honestly made me mad. I asked AITA why she would even say that, and AITA stated she was going to find out eventually, and I was an arse for not telling MJ in the first place. I got mad, and one thing led to another. I said some things I shouldn't have, telling her she had no right, and AITA went home, and me and MJ had dinner alone. AITA started blowing up my phone later saying what I did was wrong, and basically was just ranting to me through text. I started doubting myself, and now I'm here. So AITA.
I was yelled at today by a male coworker and clapped back. I was yelled at today by a male coworker and clapped back. Still unsure if I did the right thing. I'm part of a team of 6 developers, and I'm the only woman in the team. We have several teams, and I get along well with everyone. I'm usually thought of us as nice to everyone, and joking around, etc. I've heard several coworkers tell me that they enjoy working with me. Today, I got into an altercation with one of my male coworkers. He is stubborn and is known to have outbursts at people, especially if we don't do exactly as he wants us to. He seems to struggle with nuances and gets mad at you if you don't solve something code-related, in the way that pleases him. He has been working at this company for over 10 years, whereas I've been here for a year, so there's that. I've never been micromanaged by someone as much as him, and he is not even my manager or boss. In short, the altercation was this. I was handed a document with descriptions of how certain software components in our codebase is intended to work. Some of the descriptions are newly revised, so I have to rewrite code to fit the new description. The descriptions were unclear, so I decided to email the engineer who had written the document. He is very well versed into the system design of these components. We can call him M. As I was typing my email, my male coworker exploded and was yelling, "I know these things, you should ask me. Stop bothering M." I'm usually cold in these situations and don't really care about his outbursts, but this one really caught me due to his usage of the words bothering. I was typing a 2-sentence email and he made it sound like I was sending M 100 of emails. I looked back and responded, "I'm sorry, are you my boss or something?" I'm emailing him because I want his explanation since he has written this document. And he responded by saying, "You're so rude, that's so rude of you." And I was like, "Yeah, then go and cry about it." When I said the last words, the entire landscape went quiet. Usually no one stands up to this coworker and he is having angry outbursts without anyone stepping in, and this is the first time I stood up for myself. Did I do something wrong in this situation? Like, is it normal to have these outbursts at coworkers? I'm second-guessing myself all the time, but I really feel like he is the unreasonable one.
AITA. I refused to visit his family on Christmas. I, 27F, am yet another year responsible for all the planning and gifting during Christmas. My fiance's family thinks that we treat visits to my family as more important, which is not true. We visit them much more often. That's true, but that's because they invite us to events in big advance. That's something that my fiance's family never does. They just assume we will show up on our own. We've explained many times that we won't, because we already don't have much of free time. So if they want to see us, they just have to invite us and we can plan it then. Anyway, my fiance 26M did not put any effort info planning visits or any gifts on Christmas since we met 3 years ago. So last year I made it extremely clear. Next year I will make plans on my own for us. If you want to take part in it, you can, but if you won't, then I'll assume you're okay with anything I planned. He was okay with it. This year I did not get any invitation from his family nor him. Not a single word about organizing anything. I knew I could ignore them completely based on our last year arrangement, but I knew it wouldn't be fair. I called and invited us to their Christmas Eve, which they assumed we will show up for anyway. But the rest of the days, I planned all with my family and relatives. Today, 23/12, he informed me that we are invited to his family, living 2 hours drive away on 25/12. I said no, we have plans. He got really mad and said that it's not fair that my family gets 3 visits and his family only 1. I reminded him about our talk last year, but he said I should confirm my plans with him anyway. I told him that he could have asked and I'm not going anywhere. He can go himself, but it will not sit well with me and there will be consequences for our relationship. AITA edit. To clarify. 1. It's not about family. It's about my fiance. He was supposed to make an effort to at least call his family or start any conversation, so I could have details and could plan visits evenly. He did not, and then got mad when I made plans based on what I know. 2. I am the AH for not starting the conversation. I was disappointed with how it went last year. That's why I've taken his declaration. He'll be fine with what I decide, if he does not show interest. I wanted to make a point. If you aren't invested, consequences are on you. 3. We are spending the most important day, Christmas Eve, with his family. It was all my decision. decision. The rest of the days are planned with my family. It's only a couple of hours a day. It's not like every second is planned. I just won't go on 4-H ride both ways to see his cousins, now that plans are already made. 4. It's not that my family sends formal invitations. They call and say, hey, wanted to know what are the plans? We are meeting there and there. What do you think? His family doesn't contact us at all. It's more like his sister calls if she can come with us, and we are like, but where?
AITA for refusing to sign my parents' house, which is under my name, over to my wife if I die. So here is the backstory. In 2008, my parents lost most of their money, and it got to the point they were no longer able to afford their house. My dad is quite a bit older than my mom, and his biggest worry is that he is not able to leave her enough to live and pay for a home/rent without having to financially rely on me and my sister. So this is the plan we came up with. We found a house with a large lot that we bought under my name. My parents put down a significant amount of their savings for the down payment for the property, and to build a detached accessory dwelling unit for them to live in. I lived in the main house for a while, and my parents in the ADU. The agreement was once I moved out, we would rent out the main house. I would be responsible for the main house maintenance, repairs, etc. And my parents are responsible for the ADU. We would split any property taxes not covered by the rental of the other property. I live in a very expensive area, so my parents will have a place to live for the rest of their lives with no stress about becoming homeless. And I end up with a great investment property that I already have quite a bit of equity in. I have the house in a trust. In the event of my untimely death, the ownership of the house will transfer to my parents, and then transfer to my partner offsprings once they pass away. My wife wants me to change the trust to have the deed of the property go to her instead of my parents. She says she of course will let them live there, but wants control of the property if I die. I feel really uncomfortable signing over the house my parents paid for to her. Even though it's in my name and I'm spending some money on property taxes and maintenance, I consider it their house since they have paid for everything. Part of the reason I feel uncomfortable is because when we were updating our life insurance policies once we got married, she made sure I removed my parents as beneficiaries and added her on as 100% beneficiary, but then refused to add me as a beneficiary to her policy and had 100% going to her sister. AITA for refusing to sign the house over to her.